Good morning and welcome back. Today we are going to continue talking about quadrilaterals, parallelograms, the different types of special parallelograms. But the first thing I want to say, and I think this will be true throughout this whole semester, whenever you have a problem, if it's describing a situation and you are able to draw a picture to represent it, you should do so. I think that is the number one key to having success in this class. Okay, as soon as there's a problem, if you aren't sure what it's talking about, draw the picture. Sometimes even if you do know what it's talking about, I still suggest just draw a picture because it only takes about 10 seconds. You can just double check, does everything make sense here? So for this first problem here, that's one thing we're going to continue with today is drawing these pictures. So it says in square ABCD. So let's start off, we're going to have a square. And ABCD meaning we have four corners. One's A, one's B, one's C, and one's D. Before we even solve this, we know if it is a square, we know several things about it. We know the angles in the corners are 90 degrees. We know each of the angles or sides is the same. We know the diagonals will bisect. They also will be at right angles. Okay. So BC, it tells us, is 2x plus 4. Meanwhile, DA up here is 3x minus 7. Now we can set those equal to each other because on a square all four sides are the same. Much like a rhombus in which all four sides are the same, all four sides of a square are the same. So we'll add the 7. Oops, that was supposed to be a plus sign. Let me fix that. Now we'll subtract the 2x. X equals 11. Now be careful. That is not the side length. We need to plug in the side length in order to figure out what the side length is. Okay, so if we take x and we plug it in, we can plug it into either one because they are going to be the same. So whichever one looks easier, plug it in the top, or we can plug it in right there for that. So 2 times 11, I'll do the bottom. 2 times 11 is 22, plus 4 gives us 26. Okay, now that would be the measurement of what each of these sides is. So 26, but we know that for all four sides. So 26 times 4 will give us our total, which is 104. We don't have a label, so we'll just say 104 units. That is the perimeter of our square. Right. Now this next one, it says if you have a quadrilateral with angles measuring 33 degrees, 86, and 120 degrees, well, the missing angle measure. Once again, we can draw a shape, and if you'd like to, we can. I'm not opposed to that. However, on this one, we don't really need to because we know something to be true about quadrilaterals. Every triangle, the three angles add up to 180. Every quadrilateral, the four angles add up to 360. So in our case, we have 33, 86, and 120. If we add those three together, we'll come to a total of 239. Okay, at that point, all we have to do is take that away from 360. And if we do this, our missing angle is going to be 121 degrees. Okay, example 3. We don't have to draw a picture because it's already drawn for us. It tells us the following shape, MNPQ, is a rhombus. So right from the start, I know that each of these angles sides is the same. I also know since it's a rhombus, that means it's a parallelogram, so opposite angles are congruent. I also know that consecutive angles are supplementary, meaning they add to 180. Now here's one that'll be big for us. If it's a rhombus, the diagonals bisect in a way that, or they bisect, but they also are perpendicular. So each of these angles is 90 degrees. Okay, that was supposed to be a little box. I didn't do the best job. So I know that each of these is 90 in the middle. So MRN. right from the start, let's remember it says find the following, the measure of angle MRN. So the measure of angle MRN, that's what that stands for. So we go to MRN, we trace it, MRN. And as you can see, that is 90 degrees. So I already have one of my answers. Okay, QMN. Q starts here, goes to here, MN. QMN, remember it's a parallelogram, so opposite sides are congruent. So this angle is 64. So QMN will be 64. Now the next one, the measure of angle MNP. MNP. That's over here. MNP is right up here, and this angle is consecutive. So 64 is right here. MNP, we need to figure out what will this angle be. And so 180 minus that 64, that gives us 116 degrees. Okay, we're almost done. The final one, it asks us for RPN. So RPN, remember this one is probably the least common that we remember, but on a rhombus, the diagonals bisect the angles. So this bisects, meaning if this whole thing is 64, each of those has to be 32. Now the way I got that, 64 divided by 2 would give us 32 degrees. It does not ask, but if we were asked what PNR is, PNR, I could figure that out. I'd take 116 divided by 2, I'd get 58. Okay, hopefully that makes sense because 58 plus 90 is 148, plus that 32 we just found would give us 180, which makes sense because, as you can see, we do have a triangle right here. Okay, the final question on the front side here says use the rhombus above, so this same rhombus. If MP equals 22 inches, what is the value of MR? And maybe it's a little hard to see with some of those markings. So MP, the whole diagonal there is 22. What would MR be? All we have to do on this, 22 divided by 2, that will be 11 inches. Okay. All right. Let's move to our next one. And once again, it talks about rectangle ABCD here. So you don't have to draw it, but as we said, it's probably just as easy as it is to draw a rectangle. Let's just do that quick. And it doesn't matter where you put A, B, C, and D as long as you follow it in order. And we know since it's a rectangle, each of these angles is 90 degrees. But the only one we really care about was angle B. But all of them are 90. Because angle B is also going to be 2x plus 8 degrees, meaning 2x plus 8 has to be equal to 90. Now we can subtract 8. We'll get 2x to equal 82. Divide by 2, divide by 2, x will equal 41. Now, x doesn't equal 41 degrees necessarily because we would plug it in, that whole angle is 90 degrees. Just x equals 41. Okay. Now, our final problem here is a parallelogram. We don't know if it's a rectangle, a rhombus, a square. All we know for sure is that it's a parallelogram. Okay, so if we draw this, and we might find out when we're done that our shape isn't as accurate as we'd hoped. But to start off, let's draw parallelogram FGHI. Okay, now it tells us right up here, FG is 3x plus 19. GH is 2x plus 12. And HI is x plus 29. And we don't know anything about FI or IF, but one thing I do know, since it's a parallelogram, if we are able to figure out what GH is, we will know what FI is. Those opposite sides have to be the same. And sticking with that, if opposite sides are the same, another word for that is congruent or equal, we know then that 3x plus 19 is equal to that x plus 29. Because opposite sides are congruent. Opposite sides are the same, opposite sides are equal. So it asks us to solve for x, and then we need to find the perimeter. Just a reminder, perimeter means the length around the whole outside. So we have to find each of these sides and add them up together. So the first thing we'll do is solve for x. Let's subtract x. So 2x plus 19 equals that 29. Divide by 2. X equals 5. Now it asks us to find the perimeter. To do this, I don't care which of these you plug it into, 3x plus 19 or x plus 29. It should give you the same answer. I'm going to choose x plus 29 because maybe it's slightly easier. If I plug in a 5 right there, 5 plus 29, that is a length of 34. We don't know what the label is, so let's say 34 units. Now FG or GF will also be 34. Meanwhile, on the bottom, if we put a 5 there, 2 times 5, 10 plus 12. So that'll be 22. The top FI is also 22. At this point, 22 plus 34 plus 22 plus 34. If I add those all up, I will get my answer for what the perimeter is. So we get 12. Oops, what am I doing? Okay, so that 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus another 4 is 12. So 2 here, put 1 there that we carry. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 112. We don't know the label, so we'll just say units. And that is our answer. So hope you guys have a great day. If you have any questions, please reach out. Let's try not to fall behind. Keep working, and I'll talk to you later.